everyone, Mike Stuchiner, Master Herbalist here with Z Natural Foods. That's Z as in zebra. Okay, and you also may know me from my YouTube channel, A Master Herbalist's Perspective. But before we even get started with any of the information I'm about to provide to you today in this video, I must do the medical disclaimer. So, don't change that channel. The information you're about to hear is for educational purposes only and is not, N-O-T, not intended to treat, prescribe, or diagnose any specific medical condition. And it is also not, N-O-T, not intended to replace your doctors, your primary healthcare providers' diagnosis or information. Okay, so with that out of the way now, today's video is going to be about, I'm going to discuss Z Natural Foods' newest product, and it is called Immu, I-M-M-U, and then the letter C, so Immu C, okay? And so from a master herbalist perspective, okay, I would consider this product to be more of what you would call a daily wellness optimizer versus, let's say, a tonic formula or an adaptogen formula or a mushroom formula or even a superfood formula, okay? And the reason is because it kind of combines all of the best of all those worlds, okay? Z Natural Foods has specifically picked what I consider to be some really great traditional Chinese medicine tonics with adaptogen-like qualities and that have been traditionally used very well together in formulations. And to that added superfoods with some very specific targeted approaches and really powerful actions. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin by going through each one of the ingredients, telling you a little bit about the ingredient, and then I'll kind of pull this whole video together to summarize my thoughts and my any ideas I might have with regards to the best way to use it and so on. Okay, so the first item is organic orange juice powder. So oranges are much more than your grandma's quick fix for a dose of vitamin C. Oranges and just citrus fruits in general are really quite well studied for their essential oils in the skin, bioflavonoids found in the bitter white flesh, and pectin in the peel. Okay, on average, citrus fruits have, I'd say, between about 0.5% to 3.5% pectin in the skin alone. So that's a pretty decent amount for such a small piece of fruit, okay? But don't let this innocent fruit fool you, because the compounds found in oranges may in fact have some pretty compelling evidence when it comes to nourishing a healthy immune system due to the antioxidants and phytochemicals found in there, as well as supporting glycogen health in the liver, okay, or glycogen restoring in the liver, okay? The next item is sea buckthorn juice powder. So sea buckthorn is known and revered for having more than 120 active phytocompounds in this very tiny tart and tangy powerhouse fruit. And I can assure you, this fruit is not shy to flex its muscles in the wild west of superfoods, okay? While it is true that sea buckthorn contains many powerful antioxidants and a fairly decent level, considering the size of the fruit, of vitamin C and a variety of carotenoids, highly concentrated powders of sea buckthorn have actually been shown in ORAC testing to have an ORAC score of over or around 800,000 per 100 grams. That's a pretty powerful little, tart and tangy berry, I would say. But all that information I just gave you actually doesn't even begin to hold a candle to what makes this berry a truly unique food, okay? It's the only plant known to contain a full spectrum of essential fatty acids, but specifically with the superstar omega-7, okay? And amongst some of omega-7's potential benefits is that it actually supports the stimulation of mucous membrane restoration in oral, ocular, respiratory, intestinal, and skin tissue. So my particular thoughts on this berry is I would never rule this berry out as being a real true powerhouse, because just from the omega fatty acid end of it and aspect of it, it absolutely has the capability of potentially supporting a healthy inflammation response in the body, okay? Next is organic turmeric root powder. Now, this is, of course, an interesting food that's been all over the news for a really, really long time because, as we all know, and we hear the buzzwords, curcumin, which is a compound found in turmeric, is touted to be one of the greatest plants known to man for supporting a healthy inflammation response. And it's specifically touted that way because of its unique mechanism of action, which is it may support the modulation of what's known as nuclear factor kappa B. And that is basically, when you look at an inflammation cascade, that is the top portion of that cascade. And if it modulates that, what happens is everything underneath the rest of that cascade is actually controlled through the triggering of nuclear factor kappa B. So by modulating that, you're actually supporting an overall healthy inflammation response versus this crazy inflammation response that we often see in people, let's say, with autoimmune conditions and so on and so forth, okay? But curcumin is not turmeric. Just for some clarity on that, okay? Turmeric has actually been shown to potentially support more of a powerful and broad spectrum benefit versus just what you would consider to be a standardized version of a standardized extract where they isolate just the curcuminoids, okay? And research has actually shown that curcumin-free turmeric extracts, where they removed the curcumin, have been shown to be as capable of supporting a healthy inflammation response. Furthermore, specific essential oils found in turmeric are necessary for the proper utilization of curcumin. The fallacy that turmeric, what I really actually should say is that, from my perspective as a master herbalist, I think that it's actually a fallacy when people talk about turmeric working to support specifically a healthy inflammation response, or I should say it's a fallacy that turmeric is considered an anti-inflammatory, okay? In fact, the results of many human studies and the experience of many top herbalists is that turmeric has many modes of action. Actually, it has upwards of 300 activities that have been ascribed to it. And it's shown and shows its ability to possibly be what's called an amphoteric, which is a substance that helps to support the normalization and function of organs and systems, okay? So that's why they have chosen to use whole organic turmeric root powder, because it has what you would consider to be a much broader range and works very well when it comes to combining it with other substances that have a broad range effect. Okay, the next item in there is organic red reishi extract powder. Now, This is, you've heard of the king of beers being Budweiser. This is the king of, or I should say one of the kings of Chinese medicine tonics, okay? It is known as the mushroom of immortality, people, and red reishi has a long and well-documented history in traditional Chinese medicine because of its ability to potentially support a healthy aging process through nourishing what is known in Chinese medicine as the three treasures, and for building wisdom. And to be honest with you, it could easily be argued that red reishi is one of the greatest tonics on earth. Now, let me digress just a little bit by telling you what, or defining what a tonic is specifically, okay? So a tonic is a food or herb that supports a non-specific response in maintaining balance and adaptability within the human systems. They can very much support the body's ability to reestablish youth and vigor. And tonics for thousands of years have been the first line of defense in traditional Chinese medicine. Next is chaga extract powder, organic chaga extract powder. So, from Maine all the way to Siberia, ladies and gentlemen, this fantastically prized fungus, only found growing on the birch tree, has been traditionally hunted by mushroom enthusiasts in the dead of winter. Chaga needs conditions when temperatures have been at a minimum below 40 degrees for several weeks, but chaga truly thrives in brutal Arctic temperatures, okay? Much like other adaptogens, the more severe the growing conditions, the more powerful the end product. Now, while 20 years old chaga is considered to be a fully developed and mature chaga with the greatest concentration of what are considered potential healing compounds, it can live for as long as 80 years before it dies off and repeats the growth cycle. Okay, so chaga, I don't know if any of you all have seen chaga, but chaga looks like this giant black lump of coal attached to the birch tree. Okay, and when you see it and you see how hard and dense it is, you can understand why it would take 80 years, why it can go through such a long life cycle, because it is so dense and so tough, okay? But Z Natural Foods offers you, in this product, their chaga extract that has a 30% concentration of polysaccharides to ensure that you're getting what you need for a healthy immune system response and for a healthy liver and gut restorative effects. Next, organic mangosteen fruit juice powder. Now, mangosteen is a traditional food and medicine of the people of Southeast Asia, and it has been traditionally used both internally and topically because it is chock full of phytocompounds studied to potentially support a healthy inflammation response. The outer rind, or the pericarp, is where a very powerful natural compound, polyphenolic compound known as xanthones, are in their highest concentration. And this food has also been traditionally used to make ointments to potentially support the healing of infections and supporting skin health. So I can assure you that this is a food that the people of Southeast Asia do not waste any parts of because of all of the tremendous potential healing benefits that you can get from this food, okay? Next is organic astragalus root powder. Now, astragalus is revered as one of the greatest tonics in herbal medicine in traditional Chinese medicine for over 2,000 years. It is known as the great protector of qi, and this is due to its ability to potentially fortify what is known as protective qi, which flows just under the skin and in the muscles. Okay? This surface energy supports the potential opening and closing of pores, which is our first line of defense against external environmental changes. But astragalus is actually known for so much more, okay? The term dampness is used in Chinese medicine to describe conditions for which an individual is unable to metabolize fluids properly. Astragalus is a slightly warming qi and blood tonic with strong supportive qualities for both the spleen and the lungs, which are the two organs in Chinese medicine that are known specific to control fluid metabolism. It's known. It's also known as what Chinese medicine calls a double direction adaptogen. Now, let's back up a little bit so I can talk a little bit and give you a definition, a more specific definition of what an adaptogen is. Okay, so adaptogens are defined as non-toxic herbs that may support the resistance of the hormonal and immune system to all kinds of stressors through a non-specific physiological response. In simple terms, they support a healthy stress response. In the description on their website of Z Natural Foods, there is a link to an article that goes much more into depth that I wrote about adaptogens. So for more in-depth information, click on that link and you will find it. The final ingredient, ladies and gentlemen, is organic ginger root powder. Now, organic ginger root is known as a warming tonic remedy, and it's ideal for supporting healthy blood flow and circulation. And that is not just a Chinese medicine perspective, that is also a Western herbalist's perspective. And the reason for that is because if you look at how some traditional herbalists, let's say like Dr. Christopher, used to make their formulations, or do make their formulations, I should say, you have what are known as the lead herbs, the supporting herbs, and then you have what are known as the stimulating herbs, because those are the herbs that are used to help to support and stimulate blood flow and circulation to get the other herbs where they need to go. They're like the choo-choo train of the herbal system. And it's important to understand that there are two of them. Ginger, actually three of them. Ginger, prickly ash, and cayenne are the three most common herbs used as supportive to blood flow and circulation and to stimulate that blood flow and circulation. So, in Chinese medicine, ginger is used to what's known as to dispel cold dispositions and support healthy energy levels because of its warming capabilities and its specific ability to be able to increase blood flow. It helps to reinvigorate the body. It helps to support blood circulation, blood flow, so you can feel more energized as well, okay? Whereas in Ayurveda, ginger is used to support healthy digestion or raise digestive fires is what it may also be known as. According to Stephen Berner, the author of the book Herbal Antivirals, which takes more of a Western approach to herbal medicines, ginger may also possess potential antiviral effects, supporting a healthy immune system response. Okay? And finally, according to modern research, ginger is rich in specific compounds called gingerols, which are believed to be the primary reason for its ability to support a healthy inflammation response, immune response, and blood flow. But as we've spoken about in many of my other videos, an herb is not made up of just one phytochemical or one family of phytochemicals, which is why we have to look at the bigger picture. The gingerols are important and they're a major part of it, but it's not really potentially the only reason why an herb does what it does, okay? So those are all the ingredients in this specific product, and it's important to understand that Z Natural Foods takes the approach that they handpick specific ingredients based on 3 concepts when they create in order to create what I guess you would say a formula that it will create a well-balanced internal environment for supporting optimal well-being. One is taking the synergy of these plants, whether it's adaptogens, tonics, mushrooms, superfoods, it doesn't matter, is taking into account how they work together, okay? And as I've just explained earlier, you can see how they've picked some really big players in this field, the reishi, the astragalus, the chaga, all of which, the astragalus specifically and the reishi are 2 of the greatest Chinese medicine tonics. And you know, turmeric and sea buckthorn and the nutrient density orange juice powder, all of these work very well together to put together a beautiful synergy in the body to basically support optimal well-being, okay? The second is looking at their mechanisms of action, okay? Remember, no herb or food has just one mechanism of action. As I had spoken about earlier, turmeric has been attributed to as many as 300 different specific actions in the human body and the healing process, okay? And number 3 is well-studied traditional uses. And that's where we also go back to Chinese medicine, where we talk about the reishi and the astragalus and the profound effects that these substances have been researched and what they specifically do, not just as individual entities, but together in formulation, okay? So, to conclude this wonderful video, let's talk a little bit about my perspective of how you would potentially use this, okay? So this to me would be something that you could use on a daily basis. According to Z Natural Foods, they give what they consider to be their tonic dose to be 4 tablespoons at a time. What you can do is you can use 2 tablespoons daily. You can separate the dose or put it together, or you can do 1 tablespoon 4 times a day. Or if you really wanted to, you can do 4 tablespoons all together at once. Any one of these will work perfectly fine, as long as you remember that the key to using a product of this nature, like any other long-term usage product, is the 2 C's, consistency and compliancy. Okay, you must be consistent with what you do, and you must comply by using the tonic amount on a daily basis. Now, do you have to use 4 tablespoons a day? Absolutely not. If you find for you that 1 heaping tablespoon is giving you the overall effective well-being, then stay with 1 tablespoon. But when we look at the formula and how the formula was created and the synergy of all these different things, 2 to 4 tablespoons a day is probably going to be the range you're going to want to attempt to stay within, okay? So I hope this was a helpful video to everybody. I hope that it was educational to you, and I hope that you were able to learn how Z Natural Foods puts their formulations together, what they have in mind, what their key principles are, and what their belief system is when it comes to creating something as a general tonic formula, or in this particular case, as I stated at the beginning of the video, what I would actually call a general wellness optimizing formula, okay? How they choose to put something like this together. So, I'm Mike Stuccino, Master Herbalist with Z Natural Foods, and you can also go to my YouTube channel if you'd like to check out more information on a variety of different things regarding herbal medicine at a Master Herbalist's perspective. Mike Stuccino, Master Herbalist, signing out. I'll see you next time.